Welcome, everybody, to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Rico. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm a little groggy. I was up very late last night. Fucking time, you sack of shit. Why'd you throw a curveball on me?
Yeah, plus we attempted to watch a movie, which was a bad idea from my perspective, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Movie, though.
Yeah, it was a good movie, and we're definitely going to talk about it, but I also know I saw a superhero movie this weekend, and I know you saw a much better superhero movie this weekend. So
that's debatable.
Well, I think it's still probably better than the one I saw. So
yeah, and as per fucking usual, spoilers.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil the crap out of this one because honestly, I don't think I'm gonna get a chance to see it before the more important one that's coming. So we'll explain all that in a little bit. God, there's a lot to get into before we get to our topic. We also have several celebrity deaths we need to get into, and yeah, I think that's going to cover it once we get through all that. So I don't know where we should start, Rico. Should we start with?
I mean, we can start from. We can work our way from the most depressing to the least depressing. So we'll work our way up.
All right. So the movie I saw then.
That's fucked up.
So no, let's I know. I knew what you really meant. Yeah, I knew what you really meant. I just couldn't not do that. So we're only going to talk about 3 or 4 of the people in depth, but on the 4th of March, we lost 3 pretty big names in entertainment. Now I know, Rico, you said you're not as familiar with some of these people as I am. But
you might have to remind me of them as we talk about them. But
okay.
I mean, I think I Americanized one of them. But am I supposed to feel bad if like I'm like I don't know who the fuck that is, but sorry they did?
No, I mean if you're not as attached to some of these people, and I use that word loosely, then it's not really a big deal. I mean, but. You know, we make fun of the age difference between you and I all the time, and this is where it actually kind of comes into play for real, because some of these people are integral to my teenage and young adult years, where you would have been a child for the peak of some of their success. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think we'll start with, and I know Mark would see this as maybe one of the more important people, but for our list, I'm gonna put it closer to the bottom, and that's King Kong Bundy. The professional wrestler passed away at the age of 61.
What did he die of?
You know what? On the thing I have here, it's not saying, but I think it was cardiac in some capacity. I don't know the specifics, but that's what I think I saw somewhere else. But yeah, he was King Kong Bundy. He was just a big bald guy and acted like an animal, but he wasn't like George the Animal Steel. It was kind of interesting. But anyway, he was a great wrestler and didn't get enough credit. But I know he wrestled in WWF for a while now, WWE. I'm pretty sure he held the title at some point. Actually, I have a link on that I can check. Let me see here.
So I'm more amazed at the fact that I actually know who George the Animal Steel is, to be perfectly honest. And the only reason why I know who he is, because he was in the movie Ed Wood by Tim Burton.
Yes, he was. And King Kong Bundy was on Married with Children, just to throw acting around for a minute. But here's some interesting news that I didn't know. So, obviously...
Wait, his name was King Kong Bundy?
Yeah, King Kong Bundy was his name.
And the main character of Married with Children was Al Bundy, right?
Yeah. I wonder if that's why they casted him. I'll see if I can find that out. But...
He's like a relative.
What's that?
He was like a relative.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Actually, according to this, yeah, he was Peg's brother on the show. He was Peggy's brother, and apparently the creators of the show were big fans of his, and that's why their last name is Bundy.
Oh no, shit.
Yeah, according to this. So that's pretty neat. I did not know that. So
he's literally married without children.
Yeah, right. So here's some interesting info also that I didn't know about. I wish we had Mark with us for this because he's a huge wrestling fan, and so he'd be well versed in all this. So I apologize if Mark's listening that I'm not doing the right justice, but apparently he was from Woodbury, New Jersey, which is literally like 15 minutes from where I live.
Wow.
So, and he died in Glassboro, which is like 5 minutes east of there. So he died right here in my backyard, basically.
CJ, is this a confession?
No. But he also went to Washington Township High School, which is a big deal around here. That's a big school. It's not a great school in terms of quality, but it's a big school. It's a big known school.
All the people in Washington Town were like, hey, fuck you, buddy.
No, sadly, most of them would probably agree.
Yeah.
Needless to say, but yeah. So I did not know that, but yeah, he was in Glassboro when he died. So, I know we're not doing a whole lot of justice to his wrestling career, but he wrestled for a long time, and he was a bigger name, and not just by his name itself. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of that. He was actually he was a well-known wrestler. So, rest in peace, King Kong Bundy. The next one that we should probably cover. These are all, the first three we're going to do are all from the same day, and there's one from earlier in February.
I know who you're leading up to. Okay.
I'm only leading because it's not on the same day. But
right.
Are you talking about the one I'm leading to on the same day?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
All right, so
I completely blanked on it. That I'm just now remembering. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you did that.
The next one I want to talk about is Keith Flint, who is the singer for Prodigy. You probably know the song Firestarter. I'm sure you've probably heard that.
Probably have to be reminded of what it sounds like.
Did you want me to play it? I can play it.
Sure.
All right. Well, while I bring that up, I'm talking about it. Sadly, according to this, it was suicide. I don't have much info beyond that, but that sucks.
And we will stress the message again, which is, suicide is not a fucking answer. It
Absolutely.
is. If you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to reach out to, we are not doctors, but we will listen.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you can always reach out to us. I mean, we do recommend going to professionals and using this National Suicide Hotline. But if you need to start somewhere, you can certainly reach out to us. We will listen.
Yeah, my expertise is that I have understood that thought process, and luckily I have not delivered on that thought. So in that retrospect, I guess that makes me an expert because I'm still here. So if you just want someone to talk to, I'm more than happy to listen. And I won't even say anything. Just you dump it all on me.
He performed on the 5th of February, and according to this, he died on March 4th. That's the day he died. So, which is the same day as King Kong Bundy.
He performed on the 5th
of February.
Of February. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's all right. We sometimes have trouble hearing each other, and I know that. So, okay. So this is probably the song you would know the best. But if you don't, then I can try to find you another one.
Okay.
So that's Prodigy, Firestarter. And then really quick, I'm just going to play the beginning of this because it's actually one of my favorite things. I'm pretty sure this is him.
someone on the phone for you. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm trying to write this fucking tune, man.
So, yeah, that's Prodigy. That was Poison. So the first song we played is a song called Firestarter, if you didn't guess that. I don't have the album title for that one. I can get it. But that second one was a clip from Poison from Music for a Jilted Generation, which is my favorite Prodigy album, hands down.
Just so you know, you have two copies of The Way It Is.
I have 2 copies of a lot of things.
Yeah, you might want to... Anyways, I don't know the band. I don't know the artist. And, I mean, it's off. I care more about the way he killed himself than what he actually did. Hey, all the power to people who are fans of him. I'm sorry for your loss.
Okay. Either way, so that was Prodigy. That's Keith Flint. The third one from that same day on March 4th of this year is probably the biggest shocker to everybody, and that's Luke Perry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that you were leading up to. I never watched 90210, so I was never, but Luke Perry was always on my radar. Like I knew the name, even if I didn't know who the fuck he was. I think I always kind of confused him with Sean Patrick Flannery, I guess.
Okay.
They both kind of look alike, and they were both like 80s, 90s icons, especially teen icons. So I think I was confused the two. But Luke, that was a big shock. He died of a stroke?
A stroke, yeah. He had the stroke. Let me see if I can get the date, because I think it was the day before. No,
he died of a stroke. He was like 52.
Yeah, he was. I'll get that in a second, but I think you're right. He had the stroke on. Sorry.
I just said he died March 4th.
Yeah, I knew that. He had the stroke on the 27th. So it took like 3 or 4 days for. So it was complications from the stroke that took him from us.
Right.
He's had some heavy deal roles besides 90210. He was a star of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. He was in.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't Buffy, but he was I guess the co-star is probably the better way to put it.
Yeah,
he was in that. He had a great role in an episode of Criminal Minds. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
Steph watches that show. He
was a pastor. There was like a David Koresh type like cult thing going on at I forget where it was located in the show. I want to say it was Texas, but I could be wrong. And he was the head of this group. He played like the pastor. It was really an interesting role for him. You've seen Red State, right?
Oh yeah, I love Red State.
It's very similar to Red State in terms of like the level of
hateful culty shit.
Yeah. And he basically played the David Park? No. What's his name? Michael Parks? Michael Parks. He played that role, but he wasn't as old. He was a younger version of that same kind of character. But yeah.
He was also in The Fifth Element.
He was. I was just getting to that because it's one of my favorite scenes from the whole fucking movie. Mm-hmm. Because whenever we need light around here, Deb and I are both big fans of the movie, so we'll yell Aziz Light because that's that scene. Mm-hmm. It's the old guy yelling at the little kid, but Luke Perry was his assistant. So
yeah, he was the. I always, when I was a kid, I always thought that Luke Perry was the Ian Holm character, but as a kid, you know what I mean?
Ian Holm,
the older priest dude, the one who like.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't a priest though. So,
but when I was watching it, I was like, because it's like the first part is like set in 19 whatever the fuck, but then you're like, oh, when you watch it as an adult, you're like, oh no, you're just a stupid kid who didn't get it. But no anyways, no problem. All kidding aside, it is upsetting that Luke Perry did die.
Absolutely, and then his most recent role, and I think we should give him credit because he was still acting in it, is he was Archie's father in Riverdale.
Yeah. I haven't. I tried. I was not sucked into that show. If I'm being honest. I tried watching it. I tried watching Riverdale. It just did not grab me because I was a fan of the comics themselves. So like they to take it and make it real fucking teen drama. I'm just like, oh God, fucking okay.
Hey Rico, I'm looking at his list here. There's something you're going to be really interested to see, I think. He's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be in it. So when that movie comes out, he'll be in it.
This is probably his last thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by his name. Do you know what his name actually was?
I have it right here. Coy Luther Perry III, and I guess Luke was like a nickname.
Yeah, Coy. I've never heard of Coy as a actual fucking name.
Oh, I have. There's a guy on who's a regular fighter on movie fights named Coy Jindro, I think is how you say his last name. It's a little complicated, but anyway, he's really fucking good on that show. So I like watching him when he's on. But he's also does work with Marvel. That guy. So, but yeah, it's not a common name. That's for sure. Yeah.
No, it's a feeling. It's an emotion.
Yeah.
It's like calling your kid love or hate.
Right. So.
No wonder Luke.
Yeah. Right. I would too. And I'm trying to get the date on this last one. So, for those of you who are fans of Airwolf, Jan Michael Vincent from Airwolf passed away, the star of Airwolf. So, I was a big fan because it came on right after Knight Rider. So, it was Knight Rider and then Airwolf. And Airwolf was a show about a supersonic helicopter, basically. And he was the pilot of the helicopter.
So it was basically Knight Rider, but with a helicopter.
The helicopter didn't have any artificial intelligence or anything like that, though. It was strictly just a high powered. It could shoot missiles and do backflips.
It didn't have Mr. Feeney's fucking voice talking to him, is what you're saying.
Right. So, but a good reason I bring this up besides
his death.
Besides his death, obviously, or even his career, is he struggled with depression. Now, I don't think he died by his own hand. I think he just passed away. But he did struggle with depression and drugs and substance abuse because of his depression. So,
right.
So you got to hope that him and as well as Keith from Prodigy are no longer suffering, because if they were suffering, at least hopefully they're not anymore. So there's that. So yeah, we got off on a wonderfully high note to PodAskew, but we don't do these very often.
It's about to get better.
Yeah, no, it will. And we just needed to hit these because when you have 3 people die on the same day that are famous, it's kind of a notable thing, and I felt like we needed to touch on that. So, rest in peace to all 4 of them. We hope your families are doing as well as you can under the circumstances, and that if anyone who was suffering are no longer suffering. So, there you go. On a happier note, you saw Captain Marvel.
I saw Captain Marvel. And again, spoilers. And all right. So I would like to state that I really liked it. I liked it. Okay. It wasn't. In no ways is it an awful film. It is, but there are. It wasn't the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was
but
very much.
It's not nothing's going to be the Avengers.
But it wasn't even Iron Man 1.
Really?
You know what I mean? It was, I kind of compared it to how I felt walking out of it and how I felt thinking about it.
Okay.
Was sort of the same type of reaction where I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ant-Man.
Okay. I actually like the first Ant-Man better personally, but that's.
I do too, but it's you're kind of okay, that was good. It wasn't awful. That was actually pretty good.
It's an appetizer to the main course. It's going to be Endgame.
It really is. It's the fucking fruit on the side. It's the orange slice at the end of your Chinese food. It's kind of if you eat that first and then you dish into the rice. It's my criticism was there's a plot element that they throw into it, and it just kind of seemed. I had to look back on Wikipedia to find out the structure of this because it's a prequel set in 95. right?
Right.
So
I knew it was 90s. I didn't realize it was specifically 95, but okay.
It's 95, and the main thing about it that I did like this is that she starts out with her powers. Like, she already has that thing. And as the film progresses, she has repressed memories that she remembers of how she was a human on Earth.
Okay.
Because it starts out in fucking, I don't even remember what the planet's called, but like the Kree planet. Now the Kree...
Isn't that Xandar?
No, Xandar is a whole other planet, but Kree are the species that Ronan the Accuser is, the villain from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. I'm sorry, Rico, not to interrupt you. Listen, everyone, and I know we said this already, but I want to re-stress this. I'm not going to see this before Endgame, so Rico's going to spoil the living shit out of this thing, because I want the details, so I'm ready for Endgame. If you've not seen Captain Marvel yet, and you want to see Captain Marvel, fast forward like 15 minutes at least.
I wouldn't even listen to the episode, because I don't know how long it's going to take.
Well, there's a lot of other cool stuff we're going to talk about that have nothing to do with it. So all I'm saying, give 15 minutes. If it sounds like we're still talking, just fast forward some more.
Yeah. And I apologize in advance if I spoil something that you were like, oh, motherfucker. But honestly, you're not missing much. Like, it's not
I've heard that.
It's just, you know how it's essentially the Wonder Woman of the Marvel movies.
See, that concerns me, because I really liked Wonder Woman, minus the third act, which was, not great, but 2/3 of that movie were fantastic.
But what I mean is that Wonder Woman already has her powers. So, like, when you see this origin story, you're not like, oh, I didn't see that coming. You're like, okay.
Right.
All right, yeah. It's very much like the story, and, like, there are no twists. The only twist is essentially how Fury loses his eye.
Okay.
And they show that.
All right.
And I'm still, like, on a love-hate about it. Like, I'll get to it. So, it starts out Captain Marvel is part of a team of Kree soldiers led by Jude Law. And I was wrong. I was under the impression that Jude Law was playing Mar-Vell. Now, Mar-Vell is in the movie, but it's not Jude Law. But I did predict that he was the bad guy. Like, he is an antagonist, even though he is set up as her mentor and you believe he's a hero. But I'm like watching, I'm like, there's no way he's a good guy. Like, yeah.
Do you remember when, I'm going to sound like I'm diverting completely, but I'm not, so just bear with me a second. But do you remember when Matty Granger was talking to us about the individual Star Wars movies, like Solo and Rogue One and whatever? And he said, like, it feels like there's a formula at this point that makes it kind of less desirable for him.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
This sounds like Marvel's starting to fall into that trope of you've got the ally that ends up being the bad guy. I mean, and it started, if you think about it, you go all the way back to Iron Man 1, it's Obadiah Stane,
And that's what I predicted. I predicted that I assumed that he was going to be Mar-Vell, and he was like teaching her, and then like, dun, he's the big bad. But you're like, all right, I knew going into this is going to be like that. I do like that it does tie in with the other movies. Like, I'm going to fuck up his name, but the Joman Hosman, or I don't know. He's the guy. He's an African actor, and he's the guy who is in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he's like, they call me Star-Lord. He's like, who?
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. He's a good actor, but you're right. He's got a crazy difficult name to say. I know who you're talking about. I'm gonna try to find it and see if I can do it for you. But I know who you're speaking of, and he deserves credit because he's a really good actor. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
So he is also, it's really funny, I'm pretty positive he's in Shazam. So he's essentially in 2 Captain Marvel movies.
Oh, wow. But see, you know what, to me that's, and we can talk about it later, but I got into a discussion about Shazam, and I I'm not a fan of the thing at all. Really quick, by the way, the one thing I didn't know that I found out when I was having that discussion is it was shot in Philly.
Shazam was?
Yeah, apparently, or at least part of it was. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So he's in it. Lee Pace, who plays Ronan the Accuser, is in it. He
As
shows
Ronan,
up without what?
As Ronan, correct?
And as Ronan, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the prequel, it's set before Guardians. So it is like the Kree have not been... The Kree are regarded as like the race that it protects the world, right? And then the Skrulls are these alien, like reptilian kind of looking things. They can change forms and take on the like shapeshifters. Like they can take on the form of someone that they look at. So they could be anyone, that kind of thing. And the Skrulls regard as the big bad. And then it's revealed that they're actually the good ones and the Kree are the bad ones. So it was really kind of, I was sort of surprised that they took these guys are the good guys, these guys are the bad guys, and then flipped it. It'd be like finding out that the Empire all of a sudden is really actually the good guys and the rebels are really the shitty ones.
Well, and there are some people that I think view it that way, but that's another conversation.
Right. So, the cast. Because I'll go through the story. It's hard to describe because it flip-flops back and forth. Brie Larson. Just
really quick, Rico, just because I want to give him credit. It looks like the way you pronounce it, and I know you did your best, so I'm not giving you shit, but it looks like it's Digimon Hansu is how you say his name.
Digimon, Digital Monsters.
Stop it. That's wrong. Anyway, okay, Brie Larson.
So Brie Larson, I like Brie Larson. I was a fan of her from the movie Room. She was phenomenal in Room. She earned her Oscar. She's, for a first movie as Captain Marvel, she's fine. And I feel bad, but I can't help but compare her to Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, which is unfortunate, but really this is woman-centric superhero. You really kind of you're not going to compare her to Catwoman. So.
Yeah. You're
not going to compare her to, it's not going to be Elektra.
Black Widow, but even though she hasn't had her own movie.
Although I've been hearing new fucking casting details about Black Widow. Apparently Emma Watson is rumored for a role.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
So I think they're slowly just going to start bringing Harry Potter actors into the Marvel Universe before fucking Warner Brothers takes it.
Yeah, right. Really quickly, by the way, they on Movie Fights this past week did the... So which Marvel character do you think could actually be a Skrull? Like, that was just like a question for one of the fight questions. And someone actually said Black Widow, and they would explain why her look changes in every fucking movie.
I could see that. I think someone would have obviously noticed at some point.
Yeah, I think it's obviously just a play question for the show, but, you know.
Right. But the Skrulls are interesting in this film because Ben Mendelsohn, going back to Star Wars, Ben Mendelsohn, who plays Krennic in Rogue One.
Yeah.
He is the head Skrull in this one.
Okay.
And he plays him. He steals the fucking movie because when he's in his Skrull green, pointy-eared reptilian kind of look. He talks in his Australian accent, but then when he takes on the human form, the guise of like a head, like one of the directors of S.H.I.E.L.D., he speaks I read this. He actually speaks an American accent that was based on Donald Rumsfeld.
Interesting.
And he steals the fucking movie. Brie Larson.
Hey, no, I'm sorry, Rico, but I just had a thought in general. More like it really feels like I'm starting to wonder if Disney signs actors. Because, actors are signed to movie deals generally. If they know there's going to be like a series, like Star Wars, Marvel, they'll say,
right.
Like 2, 3, 4, 5 movies, whatever it is, right? I'm wondering if Disney's starting to sign actors just to work for them. Because think about the amount of crossover, especially between Star Wars and Marvel at this point.
Paul Bettany, for starters, Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
And there's rumors that like Brie Larson really wants to do Star Wars. Like they may be putting her in the other like future trilogy or something, or one of the spinoffs.
Okay.
Because like there was art where like she's like, I want to be in Star Wars, and like someone made like a collage of what it would look like her holding a lightsaber, a la Rey. And
I know the timing doesn't line up, but I mean Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson too. I mean, yeah, that's another good point.
The timing doesn't line up because Lucas still owned Star Wars at the time, but you know what I'm getting at, like.
Right. I mean, it's almost like Marvel is like, hey, we like Star Wars, let's take Samuel Jackson first.
Right, and then if I bet you from and I don't want to get into a business discussion, but from an economic perspective, I bet you it's cheaper for Disney to say, hey, we're just signing you to and I'm making up a number here, but like a 10-movie deal, and you're going to be in whatever properties we have for 10 movies, right, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, whatever else, and then you're done. I bet you that's cheaper for them to sign that deal.
Probably. I mean, I'd rather see Samuel Jackson come back as Mace Windu in Star Wars than, you know.
He wouldn't have an arm, but I mean, other than that.
What do you mean? He could have a robot arm.
No, I'm saying he wouldn't have like one of his arms is what I meant, but you know.
Yeah.
How about you combine the two and you have Nick Fury Windu or Nick Windu? So he's got the eye patch and a missing arm, and it'd be the whole package.
Mace Fury.
There you go. I like that better. That works.
And that's actually interesting to bring that up because there's this whole scene where young Nick Fury, and that was actually probably the best part, was sort of being transported back to 1995 and seeing Samuel Jackson look exactly how he did in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah. Yeah, how was it de-aging? Did it work well? Did it look good?
So good. It looked amazing for Samuel Jackson. It looked kind of for Clark Gregg. Because I don't think we've ever seen Clark Gregg look that young. Okay,
but they shouldn't have had to de-age him that much, so that's probably why, yeah.
Well, they definitely they sharpened up his wrinkles and
sure.
And they made his hair a little kind of more young looking, I guess.
By the way, he was on a show with what's her name? Elaine from Seinfeld. I can't remember her real name.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Thank you. Called The New Adventures of Old Christine. Deb watches it, and so I've caught it from time to time. He's got some comedic chops. Like, I've only ever seen him in more quasi-serious roles. So, like, when I finally saw this, I was like, all right, you go, Clark Gregg.
Dude, he's got a dark sense of humor. Like, he's got a dark, like, movies he's directed. Like, he directed a movie, I mean, I told you about it. It's called Choke with Sam Rockwell.
Yes, we did talk about that. And I'm glad you bring that up because Sam Rockwell is going to play a major role in what we still need to talk about tonight. But go ahead.
Right. But he's in the movie Choke as well. And he is like, because the setting is at a colonial fucking Renaissance fair type thing.
Okay.
Where like people act up in a colonial setting. Like that's only part of it. That's where the main character works at. Okay. And so Clark Gregg is always in method. He's always in character. He's speaking in colonial, 17th century fucking, dost thou have, the paperwork? And then like occasionally he breaks character. So he's kind of like talking like Thor.
Dost mother know you wear her drapes?
Yes. It's sort of like that. And then like Sam Rockwell's like, dude, there's no kids around. Like you drop the fucking act. He's like, all right, in all seriousness, what the fuck are you guys doing? He's like, oh, you said fuck. I don't know if that word existed here.
That's funny.
But it's all right, so Coulson shows up. He doesn't have a huge role. He's got maybe like 10 minutes of screen time.
That's a shame. He's so good.
The film. Yeah, he's good. It's also nice to see him alive.
Yeah, well, I have because he's been on S.H.I.E.L.D. and I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So,
right.
It
is also very interesting to see Samuel Jackson play Nick Fury as not the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's just an agent. Yeah.
Yeah. And to see him, because we have this look of Nick Fury as big leather trench coat, eye patch, goatee, bald head. Whereas this is like Samuel Jackson from Die Hard 3, like dress shirt, without the jacket on, holster, tie, no facial hair. He has hair. I mean,
Right.
that's really kind of like, I keep saying Die Hard 3, but that's really exactly what he looks like. But back to Brie Larson. Brie Larson, I'm glad she was cast, and I'm glad Captain Marvel was made. I just want to say that.
Sure.
Whether I liked it or not, I'm just happy that Captain Marvel now exists as a movie.
I
it's
agree.
a decent movie.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I talk about how much I don't really want to see this, and it's not because it's a woman or anything like that. The story's just not catching me for whatever reason. Like, at least the stuff from the trailers. The only reason why I wanted to see it is because I hear it's integral to the results of Endgame or to the plot of Endgame.
And I'll get to that. But really, if you want to see Captain Marvel, just rewatch Green Lantern and Imagine a Woman.
Oh, see, that's disappointing.
But it's not. I mean, I joke, but I liked the Green Lantern movie.
I did too. Yeah.
Captain Marvel is a better movie, but it's very similar plot.
Okay. All right. I got you.
It's that fighter pilot fucking gets superpowers and then saves humanity and blah blah blah. I want to see Brie Larson grow into the role. I don't think this was not Iron Man. This was not like, oh my God, they were perfect for the role. But to be fair, I don't know enough of Carol Danvers to really be critical. She may have nailed the role. I appreciate what she did for the role, which was she learned how to fucking actually fly a jet.
Did she really? That's pretty neat.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
She did 8 months of like training and judo and shit like that. She bulked up. Like she went for the role, and she read everything that you could read of Captain Marvel. Like, there's lots of fucking photos of her reading Captain Marvel to prepare for the role.
Well, then you got to give her credit for that. Yeah, obviously preparing. Yeah, and I know you are. I'm just backing you up. I'm saying, yeah, that's good.
I think I want to see more. I want to see more of her. I was more impressed with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, because in Wonder Woman, not Batman vs Superman or Justice League,
right?
She is a wide range of emotions.
Yes, I agree.
You know, whether it's her, and Gal Gadot is an okay actress. She's not a great actress, but for Wonder Woman, she does a great job because she has childish innocence at one point. She has rage. She has confusion. She, whether she's kicking the shit out of fucking Ares or gushing over a baby, she is a wide range of emotions, which I appreciate for the role.
True.
Brie Larson, for me, in this movie was quippy grin, scrunched up anger face, and then nothing else. Like, that's kind of, I mean, I have respect for her because I like her as an actress in what I've seen her. I mean, I liked her in Kong Skull Island. I liked her in Room. I loved her in The United States of Terra. So I think it was just a very one-note emotional range for her. I think she was sort of just eclipsed by everyone else. Like, because it's hard to stand toe-to-toe with Samuel Jackson as your co-star.
Yeah.
I think he eclipsed her in terms of comedic value, range, but I have hope. I have hope for Captain Marvel.
See, what bothers me about that, though, and I'm gonna, having not even seen it, I'm gonna agree with you. It has nothing to do with Brie Larson's acting abilities. Is because to me it sounds like a script issue. Personally, Captain Marvel's supposed to be like the savior from what we see in Infinity War, and it sounds like she's not. Now, to be fair, if I could jump in before you comment, because I feel like I know where you're going to go, what you're watching is 20 some odd years prior to the events of Infinity War. So she's had time to grow as that character that we won't have seen because, just timing and the way the movies are laid out.
Yeah, it is kind of shoving what Stephanie and I have argued about is when they're going to shove in the X-Men into the MCU.
Right.
That's going to happen. And then we all just sort of have to, like, they're either going to have to explain it where we're like, that totally makes sense, why mutants don't exist in New York City and no one's aware of them, and how Charles Xavier and Wolverine have been fucking doing basically nothing, and how, like, the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. have not been aware of it. Or they're from an alternate dimension. They're going to really have to explain it for someone like Stephanie to just accept it and be like, okay, it's now canon. Captain Marvel feels kind of shoved in.
To the X-Men thing real quick, I heard a theory that, and it's just something someone's kicking around, but that the Reality Stone and somehow hid them. Something about the Reality Stone.
I could see that. I could also see the fucking quantum realm or something being a part of it. I also did hear the theory that, like, there's going to be a Avengers versus X-Men movie. Like, that's how they're going to introduce them.
Would love movie. But so, all right, this is where the big red flag comes up. We've warned you guys, but I want to know how this plays into Endgame.
It plays into Endgame because it shows how she can become badass. Like, the thing is that she actually, her power, I'll just tell you how she got her powers, right?
Yeah.
So the plot is Annette Bening, who's in this movie, and I completely even forgot that Annette Bening is in this movie.
Oh, I like her.
I like her too. And she's fine in this movie. She's not, like, I don't know. It kind of felt like the Glenn Close of Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of like, oh, they're in this?
Oh, right. But that was a cool little cameo, so I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're like, oh, wow. They really need, they need that paycheck for their own, like, their own. I mean, Glenn Close said, I did this so I could fund my own passion project.
Oh, did she really? I didn't hear that.
I think that's probably why they're, like, Xandar and her are not even in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Right.
Or in fucking Endgame.
Right.
Or not Endgame,
Infinity War. Yeah, well, Infinity War, they said it was destroyed 2 days before the movie started, or whatever.
Right.
So,
like, but normally they would have shown, like, a clip of that, like, you know, Thanos fucking shit up, Thanos grabbing John C. Reilly by the throat.
Yeah, true. Anyway,
so Annette Bening plays a Kree, but she's a human, so she's a Kree in the guise of a human, and Carol Danvers, in her human life, knows her as, like, her superior for the army base.
Okay.
She doesn't know that she's a Kree. And this is before she even knows about Kree. So they're doing this whole mission where they're going to fucking test this this super, like, this alternate energy source, which is revealed to be the fucking Tesseract.
Oh, okay.
Tesseract is in this movie again. And that's what throws me off, where I'm like, wait a fucking second. How the fuck did they have the Tesseract? Like, I had to do some mental fucking, like, timeline math in my head.
Yeah.
Because it just threw it off. I'm like, wait, so they've had it since 95, but then blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, it's hard to explain because it's all still kind of fresh and, like, all higgledy
because in Avengers, Nick Fury says at one point that Howard Stark found it when he was looking for Cap.
He finds it. He found it in the ocean. At the end of First Avenger, Howard Stark finds it.
That's right. Yeah.
So then from 1945
to 95
to 1995, what basically happens is it's the government has it. And then Annette Bening uses the Tesseract as a way of trying to make light speed, essentially. That's really what it is. It's just light speed.
Okay.
And she makes a ship and tests it. And then you find out later, fucking Jude Law, the Kree dude, is a renegade part of the Kree, and he's working for Ronan the Accuser.
Okay.
So he guns her down, and Brie Larson is flying the fucking plane. So they both crash, and Brie Larson is like, oh my god, you are obviously not human. You're bleeding blue. Like, your blood is blue.
Kree blood. Yeah.
And she's like, I'm a Kree, and blah, blah, blah. And then this is the events of how Brie Larson's character gets her powers and has amnesia. The whole fucking movie, she doesn't know who she is. It starts out with her already being a Kree or being raised by the Kree, right, and being able to kick the shit out of Like, she's just a badass Kree human hybrid. So Jude Law marches over, and that's when it's this big reveal. When she's remembering who the fuck her previous life was, she realizes that her mentor was the one who killed her other mentor, and and instead of killing her, took her in, and then just hid the fact that he is the big bad all along. You know, the ultimate didn't, but you kind of see it fucking coming. And by the way, Jude Law was fine in this movie. I really want to see him come back. Like, he was very entertaining, even though I like saw it. I'm like, bad guy, fucking bad guy.
Yeah, but see, you still haven't answered the question. How does this play into Endgame?
I'm getting to it, motherfucker. I'm getting to it.
Well, we got a lot to cover tonight, bitch.
I'm telling you and the audience what I'm telling you, okay? I haven't even gotten to the fucking Stanley cameo, okay?
Yeah, I heard that was heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah. So, fucking Jude Law shoots fucking Annette Bening, kills her, and there's a standoff between Captain Marvel, well, Carol Danvers, and fucking Jude Law. And he said, just give me the energy core and you're fine. And then she's like, oh, this energy core, and shoots the energy core with the fucking blaster. So the ship explodes, disintegrates. Annette Bening's Kree body is right there. That explodes and disintegrates. The fusion of the Tesseract, the power absorbs into Brie Larson. And with the Kree DNA from the fucking body, it makes her a human Tesseract Kree hybrid. So the energy comes from the Tesseract. The blood of the Kree comes from fucking Annette Bening, and then she's also human. So she's just this fucking hodgepodge of whoa. And and she loses her fucking memory. And so Jude Law takes her just like at the hope like one day we'll fucking use this power, which is like, if you're going to do that, why train her and make her on your side? Like, just take the fucking energy, blah, blah, blah.
True.
So, and they also do this, like this implant, they put an implant in her, like behind her ear, which like holds back her power. Because throughout the whole movie, they're like, you're just too human. You have to get your emotions in check. And she's, towards the end, she's like, fuck that. And like takes out the thing and then reveals her whole true power. Like, she goes full Dark Phoenix. Becomes a fucking human.
I heard that as a descriptor. I heard someone use that as a descriptor. It was Marvel's version of Dark Phoenix, because they don't own X-Men yet, technically, whatever.
It's if Dark Phoenix was a hero and not a villain.
Right.
It's Light Phoenix.
Okay.
Which is funny because Phoenix is actually, it's real. I didn't even make this connection until just right this second. Phoenix is like the name of the fucking Jet project. So it's kind of weird that actually maybe there are kind of like Fox is doing their own version of Dark Phoenix, and Marvel's like, we can do a better one.
Well, and here's the other interesting thing, just to separate for a second, but like, you keep saying her name's Carol Danvers, which I've heard that, but Supergirl's name is Kara Danvers. Yeah.
I always thought that was really interesting how they did that. Plus, DC originally made Captain Marvel,
who's Shazam.
So it's all. I mean, this is the most blatant form of an example of how Marvel and DC have ripped each other off over the years.
It might be. By the way, while we've been talking about it, I just ordered my copy of Captain Marvel. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to buy the movie. I'm going to have it in my collection.
You have to complete the collection.
You have to keep. I'm trying to figure out how. Like, do you put your Marvel MCU collection in chronological order, or in order of appearance, or in trilogies?
Okay. Right now, it's a little spread out because I've run out of space on my shelves, so it's a little spread out all over the place. But when I had the space for all of them, they went in order of appearance and and trilogy. So, like, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 were all together, even though, like, Captain Marvel came out, or not Captain Marvel, but Captain America came out before Iron Man 3, that kind of thing. So it would go that way, kind of.
Okay. Because when I'm thinking about when I'm going to get Captain Marvel, I don't know where the fuck to put it. Because I'm going to put it like before Iron Man, but the end credits, the bonus scene, is directly links up to Endgame. So that's why I'm like, I'm just going to redo the whole thing and just make it fucking in order of release. That's the best way of doing this.
I'll tell you something I'm doing real quick. When they finally announce a release date for Endgame, the disc copy, the copy that you can go to the store and purchase, I am going, and I will have already seen it at that point because I'm not missing that one. But I am going to take a 10-day window of time off from work, and I'm going to watch all of them in story chronological order. So, like, I will start with the first Avenger and work my way up through, well, I'm assuming Endgame, but I've heard that there's this, so it depends. But you know what I mean?
So what I would do is, if you're going to do that, I would watch Captain Marvel after First Avenger, but just don't watch the bonus scene because the bonus scene leads up to it.
And I have a website that I bookmarked that has a running chronological timeline, so it'll punch those movies in and tell me exactly where I should watch it. It actually punches in on top of the movies. It also punches in like where the seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fall and the Netflix series. So Jessica Jones, Daredevil, all those. Now, when I do this thing I'm talking about, I'm skipping all that. I'm just doing cinematic. But still, it's still going to take me probably the whole 10 days.
So that's why she's...
So what's the end scene? Because you said that leads up to Endgame, and that's what I care about.
The end scene is... Well, because there's two. The end scene is the surviving members of the Avengers at the Avenger headquarters.
Okay.
And they are still running. They found Nick Fury's pager, the Captain Marvel pager.
Right, the one that you see at the end of Infinity War. Okay.
And that shows up in the movie where he pulls out a pager and she's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just a pager." And then she takes it and then gives it back to him at the end of the movie, and it has it modified where it can go out to the range goes out to a couple galaxies.
Sure.
So they're testing the pager and running it again. And it's literally them saying, just run it again. And then Scarlett Johansson turns and Captain Marvel's behind her. And she's just like, "Where's Fury?"
Wow. Okay. That's exciting. That got my hair up in a good way.
Okay. So one more, let me tell you about the bonus scene, because in order to talk about the bonus scene, I got to talk about this fucking cat.
Okay.
So the cat is actually pretty fucking funny. The cat steals the fucking show. The cat is named Goose, after fucking Goose from Top Gun.
Top Gun. That's pretty cool.
When originally the character, the cat is named Chewie, because, they have to stick with the timeline. So, Chewie Goose.
By the way, someone's tweet that I saw the other day makes sense now, because someone that tweeted that they wanted a full-on Goose movie. And I thought they were talking about Top Gun. That makes sense to me now.
Okay. Goose is not a cat. Just stay in that.
Okay.
He is an alien called a Flurkin.
A Flurkin?
A Flurkin.
Okay.
And Samuel Jackson is in love with this fucking cat. Just like, "Aren't you the cutest little mother Flurkin ever?" Like...
That sounds like a Sam Jackson line.
That's a line in the movie.
I believe it.
So, not what I say is a line, but he says "mother Flurkin" at one point.
That's funny.
So he sees fucking Goose. He's like, "Oh, you're the cutest little thing ever." What?
No, I'm sorry. You're getting irritated. I can see it.
No. I just don't want to interrupt myself.
It's just interesting how... Because you remember when he fades out at Infinity War, which is not a spoiler at this point, he's starting to say mother, and you assume it's motherfucker, but you almost wonder now if he was going to go with this other one.
I think it was Disney saying motherfucking without saying motherfucking.
Well, I know what it was, but I'm saying, like, if he's saying this in the other movie, then that may be where he was going.
It definitely. So the Flurkin is a cat, but it opens up its mouth and fucking tentacles come out, and it can eat bodies, and basically its stomach can store, it's like an interdimensional thing in its stomach, so it can store things. It still has it's the size of my cat.
Right.
It's the size of a cat. But it actually literally eats Krees Like when like Samuel Jackson's holding it and the Krees are chasing him and another character in the movie and they're running. He's holding the cat and the Kree's like, don't move. And then all of a sudden, and like fucking tentacles like come out of nowhere that are so fucking big that like coming out of a cat is like, it's like the worms from hell. Like,
okay.
And then it just fucking sucks these things in and eats it. And Samuel Jackson's holding the cat. He's like, well, that was new. And he has like a whole new respect for this cat. And Ben Mendelsohn is like, oh my God, get that fucking thing away from me. He's like, what, you afraid of this little cat? He's like, that is not a cat. Like Ben Mendelsohn is like, trust me, dude, that is not a cat.
Okay.
So the cat is actually pretty funny. The cat swallows the Tesseract.
But how does this, I want to know how this plays into the end game.
Cat, and the other bonus scene, set in 95, the cat jumps on the desk and then does it
like a hairball
and throws up the fucking Tesseract on Fury's desk.
Right.
That's the only way it ends up to Endgame is, okay, that's how it is revealed that that Shield, that Fury specifically had the Tesseract in the Avengers.
So it doesn't explain what's going to happen in Endgame really in any way whatsoever.
The only thing is that the bonus scene where she's like, where's Fury? And oh, she's a badass. Thanos isn't in it. No, really. It doesn't set up
no explanation
Endgame,
to the quantum realm or how they could have gotten that. No. Okay. All right. Then that's all I need to know. So
the only thing it reveals is how Fury lost his eye, which remember, the clue was, he's like, last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye.
Yeah.
He's holding Goose. He's like, oh, Goose, I love you. And Goose just, was a cat and didn't like being held like some cats are. Slashed him in the fucking eye. That's why he loses his eye.
That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But anyway.
And he says, oh, mother Flukin, or Flurkin. And he's like, the funny thing is throughout the movie, he gets little small injuries to his eye. We're like, oh, is that how he loses his eye? Like he gets, shrapnel. He's like, oh, mother. He's like, oh, no, it's okay. It's like they keep hinting like this could be it.
And then it's this cat.
And it's just this fucking cat. And then like he's like, oh, man, it's okay. I'm okay. And then Ben Mendelsohn is like, no, it's not. Like it got infected or something. If they were going to do that joke, I want there to be another scene where it's Samuel Jackson going to a doctor and be like, oh, yeah, this scratch, I got scratched in the eye by a cat. And the doctor's like, oh, yeah, it doesn't look that bad, but let me take a look at it. Pulls out a scalpel and actually just stabs him in the eye. That would have been like, it just would have been one more like, oh, well, you thought it was the cat. No, It's actually a doctor just fucks up. Or like Samuel or Nick Fury just trips and like impales himself on a broken piece of But,
all right, well then, that basically lays it out, which means I don't need to see it before Endgame.
You don't need to see it. I would suggest seeing it just because it's Marvel.
Sure. But I can wait till I get my copy. I
would actually recommend seeing it for the Stan Lee cameo because it's really good.
Right.
So did anyone ruin it for you?
I know that it involves Kev somehow, and that's because Kev said something about it. But that's all I know. So
think about what Stan Lee was doing in circa 1995.
Mallrats.
Kevin. Yeah. So remember this trailer where it shows Captain Marvel where she sucker punches that old lady on a train?
No, I don't remember that, but okay.
She's on a subway and she knows a scroll is on there and that there's it takes on the form of an old lady. So she is walking through the terminal and then she sees Stan Lee reading the script for Mallrats and he's rehearsing his fucking lines where he's like, what's his closing in Mallrats is like, just stay true believers or whatever the fuck he says.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's him rehearsing his line, and the font is the Mallrats font on the script.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful, but this is where I'm like, oh, fuck, why'd you do that? Brie Larson stops, turns and looks at him. He pulls down his thing, and they look at each other, and then she gives him this big kind of grin, like, I like you. And it just keeps going. I would not have done that. It just made it more it stopped it cold, where it should have just been like she walks past and then the camera pans
Right,
on
but
him.
remember there was a theory that Stan was, and maybe it wasn't a Skrull, but he was some kind of like reporter to the, who was it to?
Ancient
Yeah, and maybe it's because she knows that. That's the grin.
It was honestly, thinking about it now, I think it was he died, and then they refilmed her looking at him.
Maybe,
and then
maybe.
That's what I think.
The only thing I saw about it was Kevin said, "Now that I'm part of the MCU, does it mean I survived the snap?" Which I thought was
that's it. Yeah.
Pretty cool little quote.
Oh, I'll give you one more. When they do the opening thing for Marvel, remember how they do the pages flipping? It shows like the previous like Iron Man fighting. It's all Stan Lee.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's every Stan Lee cameo in the Marvel banner as it's unloading with getting ready for the movie.
So that's pretty cool. That's cool. I'm glad. I still think they need to do something in Endgame to finalize it, but if that's how they're going to end it either way, that's pretty good. You know, so I'll take it.
To be fair, as much as I've spoiled the movie for you, I didn't spoil like all the actions. There are some great action sequences.
Look,
I think you have a good time watching it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fine movie. I think I'll still enjoy it. With the information you've shared, I don't feel like I've lost anything, you know, so it's fine. We've been talking quite a while, and I want to get into the stuff that we actually wanted to talk about today. So real quick, a couple quick things. One, you brought up the Oscars with Brie Larson, so I want to just give a quick thanks to all the people that showed up for our Oscar episode again. I'm not going to list them all off again, but just the last time, I finally got to listen back to that, and it was a motherfucker in length, but it was a lot of fucking fun, and thank you all for coming.
I thank you as well, but I want to give you a shout out as well. I like your bonus credit scene for the Oscars, which is like, I'd like to thank the Oscar, and then it cut off, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, and did you notice where I cut it specifically? Like, the Academy get their full thank you, but as soon as anyone else gets thanked,
yeah.
You know, so it was that took some practice, but that's okay.
Did you hold something? Did you practice like holding something?
No, you know what I did? I know what I meant was just getting the inflections the way I wanted. That's what I meant.
I know, but like, did you rehearse about holding an award?
No.
Did you go method?
No, I didn't go method. So there's that. I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to, we did this on Twitter the other day. The other day was International Women's Day, and I just want to give a big shout out to all the women in our lives, both online and in real life. So Debbie, Steph, Jessica. What's that?
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Obviously
that was my contribution to International Women's Day, was seeing Captain Marvel on International Women's Day.
Yeah. Our mothers, of course. Jessica, Bethany, Arlen. I'm sure I'm missing people, but I just wanted to give a quick love to all those people. April. Yep. Thank you. Sorry. She shot me a message, by the way. She heard our love for her on the Oscars episode and was very touched. So I got a very nice message. So, speaking of national holidays, Steph did send me something because she thought we would appreciate it. Today is National Mario Day, as in Mario Brothers. So she thought we would appreciate that.
Is that the only thing?
No, it's also obviously daylight savings. It's National Pack Your Lunch Day, National Blueberry Popover Day, and National Women's and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. So, kind of a downer to end the thing, but
yeah, Mario it is.
Right?
Fuck. You know what I thought? There's this open, like, it's very obvious, but no one ever says it.
What?
Mario's name is Mario then.
Yeah, no, I've heard conversation, believe me, I'm part of that debate, and we can certainly have some fun with that another day, but I just want to, since we're both gaming guys, I figured it'd be fun to bring that up. It's a me, Mario. So we both saw.
I'll do the fucking impressions, all right?
Now, you know what? Fuck you.
We both saw
superhero movies, and the one I saw was not nearly as good, and I'm not going to give it a whole lot of love or time because, quite frankly, it doesn't deserve it. Is Teen Titans Go to the Movies. It was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I saw it. I fucking didn't like it. There were a couple parts where I laughed out loud. But juvenile.
Very juvenile, very juvenile. And Deb was watching it with me for the most part, and she did bring up the fact that it was aimed towards kids, and it is. And like a Pixar movie or one of those movies, it does have adult jokes for the adults to be able to sit through. But I mean, the time traveling big wheels, come on.
And I knew that going into it. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be for kids, but like, it's not like a Pixar movie because I really like it.
What?
I really like Pixar.
Yeah, so do I. No. That's the only way it's like Pixar is that they have adult jokes, but they're not nearly as good.
I did like there was a Stan Lee cameo. I liked that.
Yeah, the Stan Lee cameo was good and handled well, and I did double check, and it was Stan. It wasn't somebody doing a Stan impression. So that's, because I was afraid of that. I was afraid they got someone to do a Stan impression, and they didn't. It's Stan. So that's good.
Hey, this is the wrong universe.
Yeah, but he comes back later, and he's like, I don't care, Excelsior. So it was kind of nice. But it wasn't good. It's not good. Deb saw the bad guy coming a mile away.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I saw it, but I was hoping she was wrong, and she wasn't.
It was essentially because I actually, speaking of watching superhero movies, I saw The Incredibles 2 finally.
Oh, good. What did you think?
And I liked it.
Yeah,
but it.
Did you see the graphic drop off that you kept hearing
Stephanie's
about?
glaring at me because I watched without her. The fucking Joe put on at work. What the fuck was I supposed to do? It was either that or him put on. My boss put on Vikings, the show Vikings at work, and I'm like, you can't do this. And then he put on The Incredibles 2.
Yeah. No, it's good. Did you see the drop off that you were concerned about though? I don't. The graphic difference. You said there was.
I didn't. I see. I was watching it on 4K TV, so it looked fucking high quality regardless. So
Right.
I would actually need to watch The Incredibles and then Incredibles 2, which is what I'll fucking do, Stephanie. I will watch Incredibles and Incredibles 2 with you back to back, and I'll rub your fucking feet, and I'll give you fucking, ice cream. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Happy fucking International Women's AIDS Day.
Awareness Day.
Awareness Day. Are you aware of this Awareness Day?
She's the one who told me about it.
Well, okay.
All right. So that said, don't watch Teen Titans. Go to the movies. And then the last movie before we get into actual topic of today that we finally watched together. It's the first movie we watched together. We weren't actually recording anything for. It was just us watching as two friends, which was fun. Is the movie Dream Team I mentioned like a year ago on an episode. I forget what episode I brought it up. We were talking about Keaton, and I think that's how I mentioned it. But
it was about 9 months ago.
Yeah, something like that. It was a while ago.
Yeah. Been a while.
No, don't do that.
I almost said it.
You almost did it, yeah. But yeah. So what did you think? Because I didn't get to ask you what you thought of it.
I liked it. I mean, look, for those who don't know what the movie is, it's patients of a mental asylum getting a field trip, and then they are left by their own, on their own.
Hijinks ensue.
Due to circumstances. So it's 4 crazy people fitting perfectly in New York City. There are obvious comparisons. I mean, you can't help but think of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I've never seen that, so I'll have to trust you on that. But
okay, so you need to see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because, Nicholson is the Michael Keaton role, essentially.
Okay.
He is troublemaker, there to just start shit.
By the way, nobody does, well, I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of people don't do crazy off the wall, I'm going to kill you face as well as Michael Keaton. Nicholson's got it too. I'll give him that. I've seen it in other stuff, but
this was essentially the closest to seeing Batman play the Joker is really what I'm starting to say.
That's actually a good way to put it. Yeah. Although I think it's the same year. It's 89. They're both 89.
Yeah. He had a very good year for 89.
Yeah.
But he's as far away. I mean, the only exception, for those who saw Batman 89, remember when he is, confronting the Joker? He's like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. It's that little fucking, line of dialogue throughout a whole fucking 2-hour movie.
Right.
But but he's playing the Randall McMurphy role. But here's the fucking kicker: Christopher Lloyd is in it, and Christopher Lloyd was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as a patient.
Oh,
except
really?
he is completely different.
Okay.
It also has the guy who played Flounder in Animal House.
Oh, is that who the baseball guy is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle, fucking the monster from Young Frankenstein himself, and Frank from Everybody Loves Raymond. Everybody Loves Raymond.
And countless other things. Peter Boyle's been in a ton of shit. Like
Taxi Driver.
Okay, I've never seen that either, but I trust you.
Actually, I gotta give a shout out to fucking Lorraine Bracco from Sopranos and Goodfellas and Medicine Man. When I watched that, I immediately started screaming like Ray Liotta, like, Karen, that was $60,000, Karen! Like, I can't help but fucking look at her and be like, oh my God, she is in a movie about mental patients, and then one of her most famous roles is her as a shrink in Sopranos.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I liked the movie. It was really funny. I mean, Michael Keaton obviously steals the fucking movie.
Sure.
And you're right. Michael Keaton does crazy very well.
And hey, yes, you're right. He steals the show, but right behind him is Christopher Lloyd, man. I think he does a great job in that role too. I liked him. Christopher
Lloyd, because the initial premise when it starts out is you believe that, and you obviously know the movie, but with Steph and I were watching it, he is a very anal retentive doctor, shrink kind of guy.
Yes, and really quick, I mean, I did know what was going to come, but at the same time, I haven't seen that movie in 15, 20 years. So while I knew that was the case, I forgot that it started the way that it did. You know.
So he's giving diagnoses to fucking. He's going to the other characters all right, grew up in 10 minutes, and then it's revealed that he's a patient.
Yeah.
And he is. Although Steph pointed out that's the diagnosis they give his character is not a correct diagnosis for what he has.
Well, sure, but it's also 1989, and I'm guaranteed that may have been correct in '89. 30 years.
I think
ago.
if they had overly explained what it actually was, if they had accurately explained it, the audience would have been like, I don't care. He's just crazy.
It's not Awakenings. It's not that kind of movie. It's
no.
So the technical details aren't as important as the performances, I think. So, but I'm glad you liked it, because I remember when I told you about it, you said you were intrigued by it and you wanted to see it, and I got an opportunity for us to watch it together, so I'm glad we got to do it. It was fun.
Steph just passed me another Michael Keaton movie that I need to see called Multiplicity.
Oh, I've seen that. That's a fun movie. Yeah.
I've never, a man who
clones
never
himself.
has time for the things he wants to do is offer the opportunity to have himself duplicated. So Michael Keaton, even more crazy with multiple versions of crazy.
It's not even crazy.
And it's directed by Harold Ramis. All right.
Yeah, it's not even crazy. It's just it's different personalities, parts of his personality. So if you take your personality and split it into parts, that's what happens. So when he copies himself, it's not a direct photocopy. It's only portions of him.
Got it. So there's one that's obsessed with, there's an obsession one, there's a love one, there's a fucking anger one, there's...
Right. Yeah.
Got it. All right. I'll watch the fuck out of it. Dude, I love Michael Keaton so much. I watched him in fucking Jack Frost.
I like that movie, actually.
I like that movie. That's my point. Is I'll watch that motherfucker in anything.
Well, just to tie it together real quick, I actually watched The Founder last week because I was sick last week. I was out of work for a few days, and I watched The Founder. And
he's so good in that.
He's really good, but that Ray Kroc's a bastard. if that's yeah, right. If that's true to form to what really happened, he's a bastard, for real. Because the McDonald's brothers got fucked.
Oh yeah.
So
my brother, not to go into too many details, my brother is a restaurateur. My brother sets up restaurants and does very, very successful. And he watched that movie and he said, "Okay, I know I'm on the right track because." I'm thinking the same way this guy's doing without being I'm going to fuck people over and I'm going to screw people out of their businesses. It was the same mindset of if you buy the real estate, you own you own the right. You're essentially the landlord.
Right.
They got to pay you. Whether you own the restaurant outright, you still are the boss.
Right.
So my brother kind of like sort of doing research. He's like, I know I'm doing the proper thing because I'm watching this guy, and this is exactly how I think about it.
Wow.
But
Well,
yeah,
hopefully
he's a
not as
fucking
much
tool.
of a
Not my brother. The fucking croc.
guy, yeah. So, but to your point about Keaton, it was a really well done movie, and he was amazing. He was really, really good. I liked it better than Birdman. I don't want to get into a whole thing on Keaton.
Oh yeah, I agree completely.
And he got nominated for Birdman. He didn't get nominated for Founder, I don't think.
Yeah, I thought he did.
He might have. So, but tonight's episode, an hour and some odd minutes in, is actually our 42nd episode. And so tonight we want to talk about, well, what's the answer to the ultimate question? 42. And the reason we have the ultimate question is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
By Douglas Adams? Am I getting that right?
You are stumping me, friend, but I will look. I didn't have
It was
to go.
a book, and then it was also...
It was a book.
It was a bunch of books, if I remember.
No, I think it's one. It's just one.
It's one. Oh, there was a bunch of... See, here's what I understand, is that it was started as a book, and then BBC released a bunch of radio serials of it, and
Yes.
it has changed throughout each one. So there's never, like, the definitive version of it.
Well, but see, here's the thing, right? So, I'm not going to argue any of those facts you've just spit out, because those are all true. But much like Ready Player One, the guy who wrote the original book, and I am getting his name as we speak, was involved in the screenplay writing. So much like Chris Klein was involved with the writing of Ready Player One's screenplay.
Ernst Klein.
Or Ernie Klein, I'm sorry, thank you. Much how he was very much involved in that too, I think it allows for there to be the differences. Because I saw it when I saw the movie the first time, it was opening weekend. The weekend it came out. A friend of mine when I was living in Phoenix had helped me out with a major life catastrophe I was dealing with at the time that's not worth talking about. And so my thanks to him was I was like, dude, look, I owe you for this. I can't pay you back for what you did. And so let me at least, I'll pay first to go to see this movie or whatever. Let's go to a movie and hang out, or let's go do something fun. And basically, because what he was helping me with was not fun. So he had said, I want to see this movie, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, this book I read, and so we went and saw it. And it was good. I liked it a lot. And for me, and so, Rico, I know you're not, you liked it, but you didn't get a chance to, fully watch it, and so we can't,
I've seen it 2 other times beforehand.
You have? Okay.
I've seen it 3 times, but, first time I saw it was probably, after it came out on, VHS. I definitely saw it on VHS. Or, DVD. It was, an early, right after it came out.
Right.
And then I saw it actually, 6 months ago because it was on Netflix. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
and
it's still there.
I think
actually.
I saw it because when you first brought it up. I'm like, oh, yeah, I should watch this. And then I saw it the other day.
Okay.
Was it Doug Adams? Yes,
it is Doug Adams, by the way. I did pull that up. And it actually says... Okay, so let's give it some quick history really quick. It's a comedy science fiction series that was created by Doug Adams, originally a radio comedy broadcast on BBC Radio in 1978. It was eventually adapted into stage shows, novels, the comic books. There was a 1981 TV series, a 1984 video game. I'm kind of curious to see what that is now. I wish I could play that. And then the movie that from 2005.
Right. As someone who appreciated it but is not a major fan, if I'm describing it to someone like Steph who hasn't seen it,
yeah.
I would say it is an unofficial Monty Python film if they decide to make a sci-fi film.
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I thought of it too. It feels Python-esque. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's as good because it's not. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. It's not Holy Grail. No pun intended. No. And it's not even Life of Brian. It's probably right. You know what it is? It's a combo of Brooks and Python, I think.
Brooks?
Mel Brooks. So your
Mel Brooks.
So, like
I would
Spaceballs
say-
the Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I know he's got other ones, Blazing Saddles and History of the World Part 1, but I don't think they're that good. I think it's closer to Spaceballs than it is History of the World.
Well, the sci-fi aspect of it. It's like you saw Time Bandits.
I have seen part of it. I haven't seen all of it.
So Time Bandits is also an unofficial other Python movie because it's directed by Terry Gilliam and it does
right.
have the actors.
Yeah.
It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like the sci-fi version of Time Bandits, whereas Time Bandits is all about history and mythology. This is all about like science and space and aliens.
Right. So, go ahead.
No pythons are in Hitchhikers, as far as I know.
No, and that's why I don't want to say it's a Python movie because there are no pythons in it. Yeah.
There is this movie called Charade. Have you heard of it?
No.
With Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant.
Okay.
People who like Steph is glaring at you. You haven't seen it. To be fair, she just introduced it to me, so I'm not that far behind you.
Okay, good.
But honestly, like, I had no idea. You really should see this fucking movie. And the way fans describe it is exactly how I agree with it and how I would describe this, which is it is the best Hitchcock film he didn't direct.
I don't know that I've seen a Hitchcock movie, to be honest with you.
Well, you should see some fucking Hitchcock films.
Yeah, but he makes a lot of like horror stuff that like
nah,
Psycho.
not
and,
really. I mean,
and
you don't have to watch the horror ones. You could watch like North by Northwest.
Okay.
That's a really, really fucking good one.
That's the infamous one with the plane and the guy running through the desert, right? Isn't that North by Northwest?
Helicopter.
Oh, it's a helicopter? I thought it was a plane. Anyway.
That's
Okay, well, I'm not going to split hairs over that. That's not the important part. But
it's a plane? Oh, I'm thinking of From Russia with Love, which is also another dude running, and you were right. It was a plane.
I thought so. Thank you, Steph.
Yeah, he said, thank you, Steph. So that's how I think of it. It is the best Monty Python movie that they didn't make.
Yeah, no, it's exactly how I would classify it myself. Yeah, it's an homage to Python. But here's the interesting thing, because it looks like it was originally written in, what year did I say? 78. So, I mean, Python's, that's right in the same era, Python. The original book. The movie was made in 05.
Getting a little experimental.
What's that?
It was when the Brits were getting experimental with their fucking humor. I mean, there is a very British type of humor, and it can either be very deadpan, or it could be completely fucking zany and makes no sense.
I'm not trying to get way off here, but did you ever see Eddie Izzard Dressed to Kill, the stand-up special?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured you had since it takes place in San Francisco, but like, there's the part where he's talking about British films and it's the guy with the matches, like arranging matches, and like that. I always think about that when I think about British comedy. Like,
well, that's fitting because they called Eddie Izzard the Lost Python.
Oh, I would agree. I love Eddie Izzard. I think he's hysterical.
I would also clarify that Stephen Fry would also be considered a Lost Python.
Well,
Stephen Fry narrated this fucking movie. That's why.
You beat me to it. I was just about to say that. Yeah, because he did ends up narrating the movie. So let's talk about some of the people in the movie real quick. We got Martin Freeman, who, fuck, this dude has a career like nobody's business. Dude is everywhere.
Eclectic.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm trying to think of the first time. I've really been trying to think about the first time I've actually seen Martin Freeman before. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking the first time I actually saw him was Hitchhikers. But there's movies from before the Hitchhikers that I've seen that I don't think I put the pieces together. Like Love Actually. Because he's the stand-in for the porn person or the sex scene. I thought it was 01. I thought we looked that up when we talked about Love Actually.
Came out in 2003.
Okay.
Either way, it's before Hitchhiker.
Before Hitchhikers.
He's also in Shaun of the Dead. So,
which I've never seen, but that's.
But guys, you're absolutely right. What you're trying to say is that we've seen Martin Freeman movies. We didn't realize it was Martin Freeman.
Well, not even that, but I mean, think about where he's at now. Sherlock, he's Watson. You know,
he's in the MCU.
Yeah, I was getting to that. That was my next thing. Yeah, he's what's the guy's name? Shit.
No.
I can't remember right now. But he's a major player in Black Panther. I mean, he was in his MCU before that. He was in Civil War and I think another one. But yeah, I mean, the point is, this guy. What's that?
Two. I think it was just those two.
Just those two? Okay. But either way, the point is, he's dudes like shit is everywhere. You know, like, but I mean that in the best way possible, but he's just everywhere. And he does a great job in this movie. I think
he's in fucking Hobbit.
That's right. I'm sorry. You're right. He's a fucking Hobbit.
Also, he was in the TV show Fargo. He's really good in Fargo.
I've never seen it, so.
No, you're right. He is all over. I mean, Love Actually, 2003, by the way.
Okay.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He is more prominently in the Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End trilogy.
Okay.
He's more prominently in the World's End.
I did see Hot Fuzz. I don't remember him in it. Not saying I don't believe you, but I just don't, because I don't remember that movie very well, to be honest with you. So that's, yeah. He
is also the character in Civil War and Black Panther is Everett K. Ross.
Thank you. Yep.
I'm trying to think of see what else he's been in. But you're right. I mean,
Sherlock, like we said.
There's also, I remember him there was another British show called Black Books.
Okay.
Which I think I brought up to you at one point. Did you ever see or know of Fawlty Towers?
Yes, I've seen like an episode. Yeah.
So premise is a hotel where shit like run
wrong
by the worst fucking person who could run a hotel. So it's the same premise, but more early 2000s, and it's a bookstore.
Okay. And to tie it back together for real quick, because we were saying that this is a very Python-esque movie, Fawlty Towers is a John Cleese project. So, right. You know, if this bookstore show was similar to Fawlty Towers, then you see why and maybe that's why he got cast for this role as Arthur Dent, because, you know, it might be...
I just think that British people just know each other. That's what I think. I think every British actor and comedian are just like, oh, because to be fair, someone like Rowan Atkinson would have fit perfectly in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he wasn't in it.
The only role I could see him in that movie, though, personally, is the role that Bill Nighy played. I think he could have played that role.
I think he could have done as the Malkovich role.
Oh, the Hamakavula? Yeah, that's possible. I think you needed somebody more sinister, though, and Malkovich plays that better than Rowan would have.
Malkovich is a better sinister actor, but Atkinson does sniveling and evil very well. He does Machiavellian, Dead and Blackadder kind of thing.
Yeah. No, you're right. So the basic premise of this movie, and we're talking about a 14-year-old movie at this point, so spoilers are coming. But the basic premise is Arthur's trying to prevent his house from being demolished by the British government because apparently they want to build a bypass through his property. And it turns out he's got bigger problems because the international whatever of Vogons, which are a alien race, are building a bypass through Earth, an international bypass, and they blow up the fucking planet. And he's saved at the last minute by his friend Ford, played by Mos Def.
Yeah, going back like in time and seeing Mos Def sort of probably in his first movie.
I think it is his first movie, yeah.
Was weird.
Why do you say that?
Because I don't ever think of Mos Def. Like when I've seen Mos Def, is mostly him. Like I don't even listen to his music.
It's good.
But is it good?
Yeah, he's a good. It's rap, but it's what's the word? I can't think tonight for some reason, dude. I'm sorry. It's rap that's not all money and women and drugs. It's like it makes you think type shit.
It's more poetic. It's more poetry rap.
It's not just poetic. You're right, because he used to host a thing called Def Poetry Jam that Russell Simmons used to run. But that aside, it's also thought provoking stuff. Like it's brings awareness to problems and stuff. Like cultural problems and things.
He's the Richard Pryor of rap.
Well, I mean, him and Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5. There's a whole bunch of guys like that. But anyway, go ahead.
No, so my whole thing was I only know of Mos Def from like Be Kind Rewind Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the show Dexter because he has a.
Go ahead. Did you see Italian Job, the remake with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, I did. I just never think about that movie. I saw it, and I saw it twice.
I really like that movie, so that's just me. But yeah, he's in that too.
I remember him that. Yeah, he was like one of the geeky dudes. Was he the one who was deaf?
Yeah, he was. Ironically, yeah, he was deaf in one ear, and he was the explosive expert.
Got it. He was the Don Cheadle character, basically, from Ocean's 11.
Yeah, okay. I don't have a better way to put it. That's not his first movie, though, by the way.
What was?
Actually, The Hard Way from 1991 was his first movie.
Never heard of it.
Neither have I, but it looks like it's Michael J. Fox and James Woods as cops.
That sounds like an awful pairing.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was good. It doesn't look like it's good. His first, like, real, and I say real in quotes, movie is Island of the Dead. No, it was a TV movie. Anyway, I'm sorry, hold on. Bamboozled? Maybe?
These are all movies. See, that's what I'm saying. These are all movies that I've never seen. And
Monsters Ball is probably the first one you would have seen.
Well, I saw Monsters Ball for the first time probably recently, like within the past couple of years.
But I'm saying
him.
Yeah, he was Ryrus Cooper is the character's name.
That can't help me.
But from a chronological perspective, that would have been,
Yeah, you love to give me shit for this, but I don't. I see things out of order.
No,
I don't see things. Released.
Well, none of these are series, though. When I give you shit about it, it's usually like a series of movies. These are all individual movies, so I'm not going to give. I think the first one I saw was this movie. Actually, I think this is the first time I saw him act. Was this movie? Was Hitchhikers?
And I think one of the first time I saw Hitchhikers was like somewhat like my dad dated a woman. She had a daughter who like. I won't even go into the details of it, but we were sort of like forced to live with each other. Like, dad and his new girlfriend. She had a daughter that I went to school with, and then we're all living together. And she was into a lot of like fantasy and sci-fi shit. So like the first time I saw Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, she had put it on TV, and so she had introduced stuff to me without saying, "Hey, I really want you to watch this." She would just put it on, and then I would just kind of sit and be like, "All right, what are we watching?" And that was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I think I was about 14. I was a little young, and I guess I was 14.
You would have been about 14 weird. Based on the year it came out, yeah.
But that doesn't make sense because we had moved away. So maybe I think she had read the book or she was talking about it, and then possible. I saw the movie somewhere else. But I saw Lord of the Rings with her. I know that for sure. And I didn't understand. I just didn't care, and I didn't understand. It didn't grab me, and I was just confused. Right. And that was my first initial thought process of Hitchhiker. Oh, you know what it was? It was a fucking ex-girlfriend. One of my first real ex-girlfriends showed me Hitchhikers, and it was the same type of thing. Just like, I'm putting this on, like no like explanation.
No wonder you blocked it out.
Yeah, it was repressed. But I'm rewatching it recently. I liked it. I can appreciate the humor. It's just not my thing, Yeah,
but you like Python, which is why I thought you would like this.
And so I'm trying to clarify. It's like I do like it. It's just not the best movie I've seen. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
No, if I'm being honest, I'm really just trying to give you as much shit as I can as I'm inching into it because I'm trying to do what you did to me for Halloween.
Yeah, but see, that was genuine. I genuinely didn't like it.
Well, I genuinely fucking hated Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you fuckstick.
You don't, though. You just said you didn't.
Fuck you, CJ. You made me fucking watch this fucking movie, and I want my fucking money back, and I think that you are the devil, and the only thing that saved it was Stephen Fry's luscious fucking vocal cords.
Can I burst your bubble? Steph warned me you were going to do that.
Oh, fuck you, Steph! You fucking warned him? I'm done. I fucking, this is why we don't fucking rehearse this shit, because then you... Fuck you! Fuck you! Why would you do that? Karen, why would you do that? That ruined the whole fucking joke, Karen!
Well, to defend Steph, she thought you weren't going to do it because of something you said to her, so... that I don't want to put on tape.
Something? What? Oh, well, you know what? You guys aren't allowed to talk to each other anymore.
We're not allowed to talk to each other anymore? Okay.
Because you're like being all cryptic, like, oh, well, she said something that I'm not going to put on air. Well, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Anyway, so.
All right, in all honesty, yeah, I like the movie.
Good.
If I am really being honest, I did like it a whole lot more because I love Stephen Fry's voice.
No, it is, yeah.
It did not have Stephen Fry narrating. I would have been less interested.
Right.
I mean, admit, he was one of the best fucking things of Tim Burton's fucking Alice in Wonderland remake. That was the Cheshire Cat.
I've only seen it once, so I can't.
All right, well, again, I say fuck you.
Okay, well, fuck me then.
No, don't say it like that.
Yeah, so they go to blow up the planet, and Arthur's all depressed because he met a girl earlier in the week, and
yeah, that's one of the things I don't like about the movie.
Why? No, okay, so but why?
Dude, I've never understood the appeal for Zooey Deschanel.
I love her. I'm
all
sorry.
right. Then I'm not pulling the fucking Halloween fuck you bullshit that you pulled. I mean, I am, but I'm being legitimate. I don't get this fucking obsession with Zooey Deschanel.
I wouldn't call it an obsession. That's a strong word.
From the year 2003 to 2009, Zooey Deschanel plays the same fucking character, which is, I want to go to Madagascar. Well, I can't go to Madagascar. Why won't you go to Madagascar with me? You're fucking weird. No, I can't quit my job. I don't want to go to Madagascar. Okay, well, fuck you. I'm going to go off and be with Sam Rockwell, who took me to space. Like, she's the quippy fucking girl. They always make her fucking sing. And
hold on, I'm taking shit over here for saying I love Zooey Deschanel, which is ironic because one of Deb's favorite shows for a while was The New Girl, so I don't even want to hear it.
Well, I never watched The New Girl. I'm just, she plays the same fucking character.
Here's the thing. You ask about where her appeal comes from, I guarantee you I know what I think it is. I think it's Marianne syndrome.
What?
Gilligan's Island. If they were to make Gilligan's Island now, she would have played Marianne.
Which one was Marianne?
Not the movie star, the other one. The girl next door.
The one that's based on fucking Dorothy?
Yeah. If they were to remake Gilligan's Island, which they should never fucking do, but if they were to do it and it was 10 years ago, it would have been Zooey Deschanel.
I agree with that. If it was 10 years ago, it would have been Zooey Deschanel.
That's what I'm saying, though, but this is a time window we're talking about, 2005, because this is when she was right around the time she was in Almost Famous. She was,
Elf.
What's that?
Elf.
I didn't see Elf, so because I don't like Will Ferrell.
I think you saw Elf.
It's a Will Ferrell movie. I won't see it. Don't look at me like that. But she was in this. She was in that. I think that's when New Girl started. I think that's the year because it was on for like 10 years.
Well, she was also in Yes Man.
Okay. Yep. You're right. She's in that. I mean, she's in so I think that's where that appeal comes from. I think she's got that Marianne kind of appeal.
Well, I guess I didn't watch enough fucking Gilligan's Island because I don't have that appeal at all. I guess I would have probably gone for the millionaire or his wife or the skipper too.
Anyway, you strike me as more of a Mr. Howell kind of person. So in any event,
you just brought me back to fucking a line in American Pie too.
Okay.
Jason Biggs is getting an erection, and Allison Hannigan says, "Gilligan's Island, Mr. Hal." He's like, "Oh, what?" It's like, it's such a most random fucking thing for her to blurt at him, but it's him getting an erection. He's like, "I haven't even touched you yet. You're getting all all hot and bothered." I'm like, "Why would you?" Whatever.
I gotta tell you, I didn't like her very much in those movies, but I loved her in How I Met Your Mother.
I love her most in Buffy.
I never watched it. So anyway, back to Hitchhikers. So he's pining over this girl who ends up leaving the party he meets her at with another guy, who you later find out is the president of the galaxy, Zaphod Beeblebrox, played by Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, the head thug from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Head thug from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I mean, that's another guy who's been everywhere. Sam Rockwell's had, if not better, on par. Now, better obviously because he's got some Oscars, but I'm talking about just being everywhere on par with Martin Freeman. Like, he's just been everywhere.
And he chooses roles because he kind of chooses his roles like Christopher Walken. Like, he's sort of like the new generation's Christopher Walken, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Where he kind of is creepy, but you find him endearing. Like,
yeah. But I mean, like, going back to my point with Martin Freeman, where I said I'm trying to remember where I saw him first. I saw Sam Rockwell before I realized I was seeing Sam Rockwell, because I saw Galaxy Quest long before I saw this movie. And
I think that's where I think for me it was Charlie's Angels.
See, I didn't see Charlie's Angels, so I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw he was in Charlie's Angels, but Galaxy Quest for sure, which also starred fucking Alan Rickman, who was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right, the manically depressed robot, which is one of my favorite characters in the movie. I mean,
what's his name? Marvin.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I don't particularly like it like that. It's just so defunct. I would imagine if my depression had a voice, it would be that fucking voice.
Yeah, I think I'd want my depression to be that voice.
I would. I had this stand-up bit that I sort of pseudo wrote, which was, I think ailments should have celebrity voices to get you through it. So, like, lung cancer would sound like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, probably would, though. You're right.
And like a tumor would sound like Jack Nicholson, like, well. So you think you're gonna get through this? I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna bash your fucking heads in. And I think fucking Alan Rickman would sound like depression.
I think you're probably right. I'm trying to find.
You're gonna get through this. It's not gonna happen.
And I'm trying to find who is, because I remember reading this. I'm trying to find. What's that?
The guy who plays the body of Marv?
Yeah.
Warwick Davis.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So Warwick Davis, for those who don't know, is, because you brought this up earlier, is the leprechaun from the movie Leprechaun.
Oh, is he? I didn't do that on purpose, so that's kind of funny.
And off camera, we were talking about, like, hey, maybe we'll do a St. Patty's fucking episode. He's like, maybe we should do Leprechaun. So he plays Leprechaun, and he also is Wicket in Return of the Jedi. He's the first Ewok you see. And he's fucking Willow from the movie Willow.
Right. I knew that. And I thought he was in Star Wars. Wasn't he? Yeah, I'm sorry. You said that, didn't you?
He's in multiple Star Wars movies. He was in Return of the Jedi, but he's now been like thrown in every single Star Wars movie that's come out, like the prequels and then the sequel ones. So he was in Phantom Menace as one of Watto's fucking dudes. Like, you clearly fucking see him.
Yeah.
The dude who owns it, he's like, hey, what the fuck? That fucking dude.
I remember
he, like, when, like, the pod race ends, or Anakin wins and Watto loses his money, he turns and looks, and fucking Warwick Davis is human, not dressed up in anything. And he looks like he lost a lot of money. He was the body double for Yoda, actually. Before they redid Yoda, they had him sort of dress up as Yoda and walk around. So that was the guide for Obi-Wan and Anakin to, like, look and follow, instead of having a puppet do it. Now,
back to the point you made earlier, going back to Sam Rockwell, his first movie is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that one as a kid, so it's very likely that the first exposure I had to Sam Rockwell was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And I would agree, it probably was mine too, but I didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? So the first time I remember we'll put it this way, the way I remember actors in general is, like, when I see them and go, oh, I remember that guy from whatever. That's how I reckon my first recollection. My first recollection is when I saw him in Iron Man 2, and I'm like, oh, that's the dude from Hitchhikers. And then I realized later.
Galaxy or whatever, yeah.
Right, but I didn't even realize it was him in Galaxy Quest till after that fact, after I had that connection, and then watched Galaxy Quest, I went, oh, crap, that's, you know what I mean? So.
And I think the same thing where it was for me, like, when I saw Iron Man 2, I'm like, holy shit, that's Sam Rockwell. To be fair, I knew Sam Rockwell was going to be in it before I saw the movie.
Right, but you would know those things, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but that's the kind of stuff you would know in advance.
I'm the type of person who would be reading like trivia on IMDb before I go to bed every night.
Right.
So,
why are we talking about this movie tonight, though? And like I said, the old answer, they go to seek Zephod. Sam Rockwell's character wants to solve the answer to the ultimate question, because the answer created by Deep Thought, the computer that took 9 million years to come up with the answer, was 42. Mm-hmm. And this is our 42nd episode. And so the plot of the movie is Zephod trying to go and get the answer so he can be infamous, because his logic is that if he's, while he's president, that's only going to last so long. If he can get the ultimate question that is 42, then he's going to be infamous.
Right. It's essentially the biggest campaign stunt ever.
Well, the campaign stunt more from Humma is the "Don't vote for stupid," which was his campaign against Zephod. Right. But Zephod kidnaps himself and steals the Heart of Gold spaceship, which has I love hyperspace, except for when they used it as a weapon in Last Jedi. But
I think it's called Lightspeed.
Or Lightspeed. Right? There it's Lightspeed. It's hyperspace in this movie. And they also have the infinite improbability drive, which leads to one of my favorite scenes in the movie when Ford and Arthur get rescued from the Vogons, and they end up in the ship, and he goes, "I feel like a sofa," because they are sofas when they land in the ship. And he's just like, "I know how you feel." Like, it's the comedy through the whole thing is, like you said, very British. It's very dry humor. Mm-hmm. And I've lost Rico completely.
No, I'm trying to, because I know why it's called 42.
Why they chose 42?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard that explanation, so I'm curious. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to read what it...
We can't answer 37, so maybe we can at least answer 42.
Right. 42 also was a usage of Lewis Carroll, the guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
But I'm trying to find... Okay, so the number 42 is in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, calculated by an enormous supercomputer named Deep Thought over a period of 7.5 million years.
Okay,
Unfortunately, no one knows what the question is. Thus, to calculate the ultimate question, a special computer the size of a small planet was built from organic components and named Earth.
Yep.
The ultimate question, what do you get when you multiply 6 by 9, was found by Arthur Dent and Ford. 6 by 9 in this.
6 by 9, well, then it's wrong, because 6 by 9 is 54. It should be 7. Are you looking at Wikipedia?
I'm looking at Wikipedia.
Yeah, then they've got it wrong. It should be 7.
Blah, 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 blah. The fact that the Adams News... Yeah. The fourth book of the series, the novel So Long It Thanks for All the Fish, contains 42 chapters. By the way, when the whole Deep Thought thing happens, they say the answer 42, that's 42 minutes into the movie.
Oh, is it really? I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah. Trying to find, because I read this, like Stephen Fry explained this, because Stephen Fry and Doug Adams were very good friends, and Douglas Adams told Stephen Fry why it was called 42, and then he just said it was so perfect and I'll never reveal why. But there are theories of why, and basically it's computer code.
Okay. By the way, I noticed here, it looks like Douglas Adams passed away before the movie came out.
He was on set every day, so that's why it's still his baby, because he was able to prove everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did pass away.
And not to go from a somber moment to something completely silly, but I think you'll appreciate this. Sam Rockwell, do you ever hear the TV series Drunk History?
Yeah.
Apparently Sam Rockwell plays Bugsy Siegel in an episode of that. I thought you would appreciate that.
You basically did a Monty Python reference, and now for something completely different.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so let me just try and find the actual answer. So this is what Adam said. The answer to this is very simple, Adam said. It was a joke. It had to be a number, an ordinary, smallish number, and I chose that one. Binary representations, base 13, Tibetan monks are all complete nonsense. I sat on my desk, stared into the garden, and thought 42 will do. I typed it out. End of story. Meanwhile, millions of Hitchhiker's fans to this day persist in trying to decipher what they imagine were Adam's secret motivations. Here are 42 things to fuel their fascination with the number 42. Well, I'm not going to read all that shit.
Yeah,
but here's some interesting things that have to do with 42. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, died at age 42. They had 42 grandchildren, and their great-grandson, Edward VIII, abdicated at the age of 42. So there's the Doctor Who episode entitled 42 lasts for 42 minutes.
I think I've heard that one before. Yeah.
Titanic was traveling at a speed equivalent to 42 miles an hour when it collided with an iceberg.
Okay, that one seems a little far-fetched, but okay.
This is essentially the number 23. This
or
is
37. Or it's 37. It is. It really is.
Elvis died at the age of 42. Toy Story character Buzz Lightyear's spaceship is named 42. I
wonder if it kind of goes with what Marilyn was saying about 37. It just sounds good, like audibly, you know.
But this is more closer to the movie, the number 23, where it's like you find it everywhere. It's just a happier version, whereas the number 23 is the number of the devil.
Right.
42 is the favorite number of Dr. House, the American television character Doctor played by Hugh Laurie.
Is it really? I don't think I've ever noticed that. And I love House. I watch that show all the time.
Either that or all this is just bullshit. The band Level 42 chose their name in recognition. Look, there was a whole explanation for this, and that's what's really pissing me off. Is because it translates to binary code, and it just says basically it is whatever, life is whatever you want it to be, is really what the answer is.
Well, there you go. Then it's 42. Do you know who voiced the Deep Thought computer?
I do, and then I forgot. Was it Helen Mirren?
It is Helen Mirren. Yep.
Yeah. She sounds so deliciously bored as a computer.
Well, that's the idea. But
yeah, I loved it. Who are we forgetting? Anybody else in the movie?
Richard Griffith plays Jeltz, but I don't know who Jeltz is.
He is the head Volgon or whatever the fuck.
Oh, is that his name? Okay.
Yeah.
I never caught his name.
Fucking Vernon Dursley is fucking the head. I mean, they even kind of look alike.
Yeah, a little bit, actually, yeah. You got Malkovich, which we talked about a little bit as Humacavola.
John Malkovich has the best diction of anybody ever.
Yeah.
Except when he says his name. That's the only time where he doesn't have the best diction, because he says John Malkovich.
Or when he's doing a really bad Russian accent.
Oh, Rounders?
Because, I mean, I love that movie, and I love that character, so I'm not even saying anything shitty about John Malkovich, but let's be real, that accent is terrible.
That was a very bad accent. He's like, do you want a cookie?
Pay that man his money. You know,
give this man his money.
I almost think that it was on purpose, that it was that over the top and bad. I really did.
He gave us Borat before we got Borat.
Oh, yeah. And personally better. In my opinion, but yeah. And then of course the I guess you would call it a cameo of Slarty Bartfast, which is
Bill Nighy.
Bill Nighy, yeah. The building of planets, you know. Always like doing the coast.
Norway.
What's that?
Made Norway.
He won an award for it, if you recall.
Yeah.
So.
Won an award for. I can't do a Nighy.
No, he's got an interesting accent. He really, really does.
Really hard. Because he kind of mumbles.
A little bit.
It's like, oh, yes, Bill Nighy. It's hard to really...
You need to work on that one, I think.
I can only do his fucking hands, because he's got that condition where his ring finger and his pinky close up together.
Yeah. I'm the one who pointed that out to you, if I recall.
No, you didn't. I knew that forever.
All right.
Yeah. I've known that forever. They even did that in fucking when he played Davy Jones.
Well, they say that's why they gave him the lobster claw for the one hand, because of that.
Yeah, but then there's that part where it shows his human version of himself.
And he's still,
he's just, he always looks like he is in Dracula pose.
Yeah.
Look into my eyes, love.
So, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's one of the best movies ever made, because it's not. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to, but what it is for someone who loves Python like I do, because I do. I love Monty Python movies and likes Mel Brooks movies because I enjoy them as well. You get a little bit of that because the last I have to look it up, but when was the last Mel Brooks movie?
Dracula Dead Loving It.
Okay.
That was his last movie he directed. He was in an Italian film called Screw Loose. I think that was like one of the last movies. He was also in the movie Robots remember that movie Robots with like Robin Williams and Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
Oh, Mel Brooks was also in Hotel Transylvania, like one of them. He was in the second one.
No, but I'm
I think.
talking about one of his movies, one of his parody movies.
His last official movie that he directed was Dracula Dead Loving It in like 94 or 5.
5 is according to this, but I think you're wrong. I'm just checking something.
I mean, unless he directed the musical piece of shit version of The Producers, I'm pretty positive.
I thought Men in Tights came out after that, and I was wrong. So that's where, okay.
I know Mel Brooks, motherfucker.
All right, see, the last one I would have credited him with, I never even heard of the Dracula Dead Loving It. The last one I heard about was Men in Tights. So, which I'm honestly not a big fan of. Like, I think it's okay. I don't think it's his best work by any means.
No, it's not his best work. It's funny, but it's not his. I love parts of that movie, but it's not the best. Same with Dracula Dead Loving It, because I think the two most movies that I saw of Mel Brooks were Dracula and Robin Hood, Men in Tights, frequently. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, Spaceballs, and oh, fucking History of the World Part 1, and yeah.
I've never seen Blazing Saddles, believe it or not, but I have seen.
You've never seen Blazing Saddles?
No, I haven't. And I've heard similar, and I know it's not. I know what I'm going to compare this to is not a comedy, but it's similar to Black Klansman. It's a hard sit because of the content. So Yeah,
it is. But the weird thing is Blazing Saddles actually makes it okay. It makes it funny to use the word, and I mean, look, Richard Pryor helped write Blazing Saddles.
Yes,
it's got to give it some fucking ability.
It kind of justifies it a little bit because of that. I've heard that, and I agree. So,
and I'm not going to say the line, but there is a part where they use the N-word in a comedic way where like anybody can laugh.
Right.
And the premise is, without giving the whole movie, is there's a black guy who is going to become a sheriff for a town, right?
Yeah.
So the town doesn't know that their new sheriff is going to be black. So it shows there's a guy on a watchtower who's looking for the sheriff. And he speaks in a very like kind of hornswoggle kind of a voice like this and blah, 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 like real guttural mumbles and Western jargon. And he's looking at it, he's like, the sheriff's coming, and like the town gets ready, starts playing a band, and they start at the same time. There's a clock tower that's signifying that it's something o'clock, so it goes bang, bang, and so he's coming in on horseback. He's like, "Hey, the sheriff is a bong," because it cuts out the N word.
Right.
And
okay.
What did he say? He said the sheriff's near. Oh, no, goddammit, that's not what I said. I said the sheriff is a bong.
Right. Okay, so
that's what I'm saying, where it's not as in your face as Black Klansman. You're like, oh my God, I need a break.
Right, but I've heard it's a hard sit, at this time in life. But I get what you're saying, so I'll have to give it a chance. But Spaceballs, gives you some lines that are fantastic. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
Like what's your name? Major Asshole. How many assholes are on this ship? You! And like 30 people turn around. Like it, and I think the most infamous.
I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Yeah, and I think the most infamous line ever from that movie is When will then be now? Soon. You know, like, that's...
I would argue it's probably use the Schwartz.
Well, okay, yeah, but I
love it. It's like, yogurt, you hoid at me?
Yeah. I mean, they went plaid, you know. And see, we're way off Hitchhikers, but the point is, like, to me, and I'm not ranking things, I'm not asking us to do that tonight, it fits in with these movies, with Monty Python and Holy Grail, with The Life of Brian, and, you know... Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I started with, you know.
But I would also argue that Spaceballs has more, and even Monty Python has more memorable lines than Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, I can't disagree with that. Absolutely. But the spirit is there. Do you know what I mean? The feels are there.
The essence is there.
No, you're absolutely right. The lines, I don't even know if I can think of a memorable line from, you know... I think the most memorable line from that movie, meaning Hitchhikers, for me, is probably the 42 when she's answering the question, the computer, when they finally go to get the answer 7.5 million years later, and it's 42. My favorite scene, I think, is the sperm whale coming to terms with its life as it's falling to its death. But
that is Monty Python incarnate, is exactly what that scene is, which is a sperm whale falling and being like, whoa, who am I? What is this? Oh, is that I think I'm going to call that Earth. Hi, Earth. Will you be my friend?
Ground. Yeah. But at the same time, and then the last line from that scene is when the narrator, Stephen Fry, says, ironically, the last thing that went through the bowl of Petunia's mind was, oh, no, not again. So, you know... Like, you get those moments, and I remember it because I just watched it last night, but comparatively to Major Asshole and when will then be now soon, you're right, you don't have those moments. I will tell you this, I think more than any other movie I've seen him in, this lets Sam Rockwell flex his chops, man, because he's all over the fucking place.
He is definitely, like, watching him, I'm like, he is... the Mick Jagger of this movie. He kind of just struts around and is all over the place. It's like, he kind of, but I mean, he's all over the place, but he also comes off infuriatingly annoying in this movie.
Not to me. I find it funny. Me. Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Because he is he is everything that Martin Freeman's character is, or is not, Sam Rockwell is.
Right. But see, that's the difference. Like, to me, as much as he's the protagonist of the movie, I think Arthur Dent's the most annoying because it's like, grow some balls, man. Which I think is the point of the movie, but...
I mean, the way she said it was grow a backbone.
Well, yeah, same thing, though. You know. But, yeah, I mean, you have your moments. Like, when they're on Vogon trying to rescue her, and if you have a thought, you get smacked in the face by the... whatever that was, the tentacles. You know. And then the crabs that can't seem to catch a break. They always end up getting crushed somehow. Yeah. You know, so...
I think my favorite is when they're drinking the most exquisite fucking drink on Earth.
I forget what it's called.
And they drink it, and they said, it's just like having a lemon peel wrapped around your head or your brain. And they just drink it, and they go, ah!
No, it's a lemon peel. It's being bashed in the head by a golden brick wrapped around, with a lemon peel wrapped around it. Something like that is what it is. Yeah.
It just says, like, oh, we're just going to bludgeon your brain with a fucking exquisiteness.
And if you notice, there's like this much beverage. You can see my fingers. There's like this much beverage in the cup.
It's less than a shot. It's like a thimble shot.
It's, really, you know. But then you get the little nice homages like the toaster, the knives that are fucking little lightsabers that toast the bread as you slice it, and it really makes the sounds, you know.
That's the scene that sticks out for me when I first saw it. That was what stuck out for me, was the little mini butter knife lightsaber thing.
Why is that? Just because of the Star Wars reference, or?
I don't know. It just, probably. It just stuck with me. But I'm also thinking that would have been, that's exactly what I want. I want to make toast as I cut bread. Yeah. I want to have it be toast at the same time.
But here's the thing. What if you want to cut the bread and you don't want toast? That's my only argument against that.
You turn it off and you use just a fucking knife.
Well, it didn't look like they had any regular knives. It looked like all they had were those. So I'm just saying.
You get your shit together, CJ. I mean, fuck.
All right.
Or you just use your hands and rip it apart like a fucking animal.
Fair enough. I don't know why they just don't have sliced bread in the fucking galaxy. You got all this other technology. But...
They do have sliced bread. They just have another way of making sliced toast.
Uh-huh. All right. And of course,
they can do everything else.
Then you also have to have the most powerful weapon in the universe. Of course, that's important too.
Which one was that?
A towel. You always have to have a towel. You always have to have your towel.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I think it's just a thing. I think it's like the coconuts, or
I think Douglas Adams was on acid. That's what I think.
Well, maybe.
I think Douglas Adams was the closest thing to Lewis Carroll. He was like our generation's, the next generation's Lewis Carroll.
Yeah, maybe. So, anyway, I just wanted to give some love to the movie. I know it's not, a grand epic, but I felt like with the 42nd episode and me being a fan and us being fan of the style of movie, even if this isn't at the top of your particular list, it's still,
Well, we talked more about Captain Marvel than we did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I feel bad for that, but we should probably just title this Hitchhiker's Guide to Captain Marvel.
That's definitely a possible title, but we'll have to see. I don't know. Anyway, I had a feeling this one was going to go off the rails quick, but I wanted to at least show the movie some love and use it on number 42. So thank you for indulging me, Rico. I appreciate it.
Halloween's still better.
Not in a million years.
Yes, it is.
No. Not in a million years. I would watch a sequel to Hitchhikers before I watch that movie again.
You bitch.
Anyway, it's kind of good to get back to you and me, though, because the last several episodes, I mean, I thank you to all the guests we've had between Mike and Chris and all the people that joined us on the Oscars, but it's good to get back to just you and me and stupidness for a little bit.
Yeah, just having our normal fucking partnership instead of a menage a trois.
Yeah, right. So, that said, we do have an announcement that I think we can finally talk about. I think we can finally safely talk about that we are going to play a game. We're going to play a game called Cinema Wars, and details will come out as we get closer, but we are weeks away from this-ish. Month, weeks, somewhere in that ballpark. But we have a date. I'm not just making that up. We actually have a date. I just have no concept of time right now. But we are going to play a game, and we're pitting PodAskew, represented by Rico and Joe, against the Daves, basically. Represented by Chris and Octopus Caveman.
The audience doesn't know who Joe is, so we have to...
Yeah, why don't you... Well, I was getting to that. You didn't let me get there. So...
Well, hurry up.
Joe is a friend of yours, so why don't you give the audience a little bit of background on who this guy is? And why he's representing the show instead of me.
I mean, you basically said Joe is just a friend of mine. Like, I've known Joe since...
Why did you make a big fucking deal? You know what? Fuck you. God damn it.
Joe I've known since I was about 13, 14 years old. He's just been one of my other long friends. He moved to LA recently, with like the past couple year. But he and I grew up basically with each other. Like we didn't go to the same school. We didn't learn. We didn't fucking live with each other. But we saw each other almost every day, and got to fuel our fucking geekiness and interests and have each other's back. So I've been wanting him to be on the podcast for a while, and we will have him for something else as well as the game. So he and CJ got to meet each other on Skype, and that was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it was. He's a cool dude, though. I like him.
Yeah.
For those who won't be able to see him because we don't put video up, he looks like Ronnie James Dio, which I think is kind of awesome.
He looks more like if you took Salacious B. Crumb and Anakin Skywalker and made them together.
I could see a little bit of that too. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Michael found a photo of, because Joe was for a long time an avid bike rider and actually like competed in bike races.
Oh, really? That's kind of neat. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Cyclists, yeah. I mean, Joe when I met him, Joe was
the peanut gallery over there today has been very active. I'm just saying.
What?
The peanut gallery over there today has been very, very active.
What are you talking about?
Stephanie, the peanut gallery.
Peanut gallery? Why are you calling her the peanut gallery? I don't get it.
You've never heard of that expression? We don't need comments from the peanut gallery?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's why that was lost on you. Anyway.
That's something that you old fucking people know, okay?
Fuck you.
When I met Joe, he was vegan and like kind of sheltered and just in his own, like, he was I mean, I love his parents, but they kind of just gave him part of the truth in my opinion.
Okay.
Like
well,
I love his mom. She was basically like told him like cheese will kill you if you eat it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like airing dirty laundry. I was like, do you want to air this stuff?
No. I would never say anything. But it was just sort of a thing where he and I, when I first met him, he was just this vegan. So he was the friend that I couldn't go out and eat anything with. We always had to go to restaurants that accommodated him.
Right.
Or his mom, but it is the stereotypical classic thing where we would go out to dinner and his mom would explain to the waiter what a vegan was in the middle of Berkeley, where fucking Berkeley is full of vegans. It's like, I'm a vegan. Do you know what a vegan is? Let me explain for 20 fucking minutes what a vegan is. We're like, God damn it, just order rice. No, I want to fucking eat.
Right.
And then Joe and I discovered the best way to eat together was Jack in the Box, because the tacos for Jack in the Box are actually not. It's not actually beef. It's like soy-based beef product.
Oh, really? I don't think I knew that.
I don't know if anyone knows that.
Well, yeah.
But once we discovered that, every time we would get something together at like Jack in the Box, he would get like 10 to 20 tacos.
Well, because they're small. If I remember, they're only like that big. They're not very big.
They're not the size of that. They're normal sized tacos, like Taco Bell tacos.
Really? I felt like they were smaller. Anyway.
No.
Speaking of Taco Bell, do you know they put cocoa powder in their taco meat?
Oh, they go like Cincinnati fucking chili style?
I guess. I don't know. But I know a guy who's like deathly allergic to chocolate, and he ate, every time he ate Taco Bell, he would get like a scratchy throat. Like it wasn't enough to hurt him, but he would get a scratchy throat.
Really?
And that's how we found out that. Oh yeah, real quick, not getting way off, but I live near Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is where Hershey candy bars come from.
Yeah.
So they have a whole park out there, Hershey Park. That's like it's also where the factory is, where the candy's actually made. But then there's also like roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, dude, it's a massive fucking tourist attraction out here. I'm not even joking. Like it's.
There's a theme park based on Hershey chocolate.
Oh yeah. There's a whole.
Dude, my diabetes is my diabetes is rising.
Well, anyway, the point is, there's so much chocolate in the air at that place that he went there with his kids and they had to leave because he was having trouble breathing.
The chocolate basically gave him an asthma attack?
No, he was actually closing up. Like he had to leave.
Shit.
That's also how deathly allergic he is to chocolate. But that's another.
For our listeners, if you're allergic to chocolate, for one, don't go to Pennsylvania. Two, fucking eat the tacos from Jack in the Box because they use cocoa, apparently.
Taco Bell.
Oh, we're talking about Jack in the Box. You're talking about Taco Bell?
But because you brought up Taco Bell, so I said Taco Bell. They put chocolate in their meat at Taco Bell.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you were talking about Jack in the Box. Oh, whatever.
Taco Bell.
So if you're allergic to chocolate, just avoid tacos.
Or no, he found out if he eats the steak or the chicken, he's fine. So when he goes to Taco Bell now, he orders the steak.
That's like a Midwest thing because Maxwell is from the Midwest, and when he makes his chili, he puts chocolate in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like a Ohio. I mean, I've heard like it's called Cincinnati chili. Is like they use like chocolate sauce but it doesn't taste like chocolate. It's just cocoa powder. It just gives you that
sweet.
That's not even sweet. It just gives you like, what is this flavor?
Yeah,
and you're like constantly questioning. It's like when people throw in fucking nutmeg in like Italian food, which is fucking not something you should do.
Dude, we've gone so far off the rails, but real quick, I'll tell you, the reason I was told that they do that with Taco Bell is it's almost like MSG. It's meant to make you want it more. Something about it. Yeah, that's the basic concept. of why they do it to talk about meat.
I know of people that when they like old school Italian Americans, when they make their Sunday gravy, this was basically what they think it's called. When they make their tomato sauce,
thank you,
they will put sugar.
Oh yeah, I know people that do that. Sure.
I don't really do that because I mean, I have done that. I mean, is that psychological thing? I do it to add more flavor, but really, I'd rather add like a little bit of wine because you get sugar in the wine.
Well, we'll talk off air, but my mom, who's also Italian, has a trick for her sauce that I'd be curious to see what you think of. But we won't bore our listeners with it. Anyway,
what do you mean bore our fucking listeners? We made just as much fucking sense as Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We were all over the fucking planet. We talked about
all
Captain
over the
Marvel.
galaxy. What are you talking about?
We talked about fucking veganism with Joe. We talked about fucking
so
Teen Titans.
Let me tie that back real quick. So we're going to play this game where it's going to be PodAskew versus the Daves, and it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to doing that game. It'll be curious to see how it goes.
And I didn't tell you, but Joe actually responded to the text message, so he actually gave me his answers already.
All right, well, you guys will have to coordinate and see if you agree. But because you guys have to agree. This is a team game, so you guys have to agree.
I am already kind of disagreeing, but I have to reread the fucking questions before I look at the answers.
That's between you and Joe.
I'm already like, oh, God damn it, Joe.
All right. Well, for everyone that sat through this, thank you. We do appreciate it. Thank you for humoring me, because this is really all my fault, this particular episode. So I will thank you personally.
And I will end it say, well, you're welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. And if you need a ride, just make sure you remember to stick out your thumb.
So long, and thanks for the fish.
Hiya, everyone. Stephanie here with a few thank yous and FYIs on how you can get in touch with and follow PodAskew. Oh, yeah, and the guys. Let's start with a huge shout-out thanks to Dubbed in English for the opening theme music, 96 Reasons. If you're trying to find them online, they've dropped off the face of the earth. Just kidding. But no, really, their music is offline now, so send an email request to podaskew@gmail.com or CJ's Twitter handle @im_blade, and he'll throw you a copy of the full song and or the whole EP, Plan 9. Also, let's give a big thanks to Samuel Lemons for our closing music theme, Askew. I encourage you to discover more of Samuel's masterfully manipulated rhythms on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. I don't know how you're listening to this now, but you can find other PodAskew episodes in several places, starting with iTunes and Stitcher, where a quick high-star rating from you goes a long way in helping us hit the top of the charts. Or you may prefer Google Play Music. Don't want to be strapped down by an app? Then find us on podcast search engine, Listen Notes. Type in PODASKEW, yes, that's all one word, into any of the aforementioned searches, and PodAskew will pop right up on whatever screen you're using. And of course, there's our founding site that started it all, Podcast Garden, at www.podcastgarden.com/podcast/PodAskew. By the by, if you're looking to host your own show, Podcast Garden is the ideal place for all your podcast hosting needs at a very affordable price. Now, if you want to agree with or yell at the guys directly, follow them and the show on Twitter. For the show, @PodAskew. For Rico, @RantsRico. And again, CJ is @im_blade. Finally, let's not forget our biggest thank you is to you for listening, subscribing, rating on iTunes and Stitcher, and promoting our show by being our fans. CJ and Rico truly appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
Ford? Yes. I think I'm a sofa.
Damn it! PodAskew.